and they kept moving me down. I think they're heading me towards Third Street, but I didn't say anything. I just moved.
And I kept your chair warm. I wasn't the
Good.
president, but I used your gavel.
Oh,
Kept those guys in line.
gotta keep it out of Eric's hands because he always disassembles it. And I'm afraid he'll lose some parts. So,
Well, Forrest was out on the internet.
oh,
so
he asked you to use the gavel. That's
he couldn't even touch it. I kept under control.
a good thing.
Mhm.
How you been?
Pretty good. I had my daughter and her husband, who we adore, here from Cape Town for a whole month.
Oh, now that's a little long for a guest, but I'm sure you got accustomed to each other.
It worked out great because we have that little guest house.
Yeah,
So they have their own space and everything. And she's a cleanliness nut. I don't know when that happened, but she organized my whole kitchen, all our messy rooms, and it was like a miracle.
I hate to tell you this, but that's a sign of your age.
Really?
It isn't hers, it's a sign of yours.
I'm getting too much stuff. That's what it is probably. Hi, Julie. Yeah. It happened.
Come on up here,
Yeah, next.
get in there.
Oh, now there's a
Sorry,
chat
Bob.
function. We didn't.
I think I'm all right.
Good.
I think I'm all right.
Mhm.
Are you moving? Come on over here. Where is your chair?
Hey, I'm next to you, but I'm gonna move Eric. Is that all right?
Sure.
That's
There
what
you
sit
go.
by Bob.
Well,
Oh, okay.
All
Close
right,
enough.
Here we go.
Oh, I'm surrounded by women now. I don't know.
The Bob sandwich.
excuse me.
He
Uh,
needs to do what we tell him to do, I think.
So
I'm gonna turn my,
how's things up on the hill?
we're doing really well. I've been gardening. Do I have dirt all over me? I kind of cleaned up.
Uh, That's good. If we really missed
It's
Dennis, I
chilly.
think, I don't know if you've missed. Yeah, David,
Oh, yes. What happened to him? I mean, he's just not on. What do you mean we miss him?
well, he gone, isn't he? Didn't they move?
Oh, no.
Mary just won a major
Yeah,
award.
Mary and
for
Dennis, they
tourism.
just live up above Fort Dallas Museum.
I heard rumor that they moved clear out of town.
I don't think
No.
the Dalles would let them move.
No,
They're not allowed to move.
they're here.
We need them for
Yeah.
tourism.
The story I had was the opposite.
Oh,
That the daughter came in and seen what she was looking at and said, you're out of here. And within 2 weeks, they were gone. The place had been sold and they were gone.
well,
That would surprise me, but I just saw him a couple of days ago.
Oh, well then, it was a
And
bad
they-
rumor. Wait till I get my rumor mill.
That's right.
I'll deflate that bunch, I'll tell
well,
you.
I don't know everything. I stay on the porch most of my time, so.
Yeah, that would be a surprise, I suppose.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's why I thought
Hmm.
you might have a change there in the sense that I haven't
Not specified.
really driven up there to look, but
I have a feeling it's
my source
actually no idea.
said that they were gone, so I
Well, I would be really sorry if that happened. I
Did
suppose.
send them an
that
agenda.
Beautiful house.
they requested
it's
it.
very old and all that.
yeah.
Up on top of the hill there.
And she got an award at the city
State
council.
level. That's right, just a couple of
Just a
days ago,
couple
she
days
got an
ago.
award.
Yeah.
It was
That's right.
exciting on Monday.
Now,
They are here.
between you and I and a gatepost.
I don't know.
Keep cuddled up next to your neighbor down on the corner of. I didn't grab it. Yeah, I guess I didn't grab it. Down below your aluminum building, your vehicle shed.
Okay. What about her? Is she gonna sell us our property, that property?
She told me, now
Yes.
don't,
Can I lean in on this one?
I'm all ears.
she's gonna give it to us.
Oh my gosh, that would be fantastic.
Well, look at it now and think, don't be greedy. What kind of a problems could you
Hey, Forrest,
have? And you don't have any
Yes,
changes.
did you receive my email about the minutes?
City and county.
I
gonna give us
did, and
money.
I emailed
Yeah,
you back about them because I thought
just telling
Bob
you,
was supposed to
they
sign
have
those because
to
he
have
chaired
it.
that meeting, those meetings.
That's
That's it.
No, whoever is there during the
Yeah, we don't.
approval can sign them.
I didn't
If you don't want to, I can run down and get them and ask Bob to sign them.
No, I just, thanks for clarifying that. I will, get those signed and get those over to you as soon as I can, probably after this meeting.
Thank you.
I want you to have that.
I don't want to talk. Anyhow,
Hey,
back in the days when I was,
it's 3:58. So you know. So you have a heads up. You got 2 minutes.
talking about now.
We have 2 minutes till showtime.
We ain't gonna have much of a show if we don't have much of a crowd.
There's 2 more there.
Oh, dang, I'll never get used to that.
They're behind you too. They're looking over
Oh,
your
they're
shoulder.
all over the place.
Shine up my bald spot for you.
But you can't. Okay,
Uh,
I'm gonna start the recording, guys.
okay, well. Good to see the people from a far away land. So. You wanna go for one more minute? 2 more? Well, you said 2 more.
3:59 now. You got a minute.
Oh,
Large.
Oh, no, it's Caitlin. Oh, we got a cute little girl. Oh, wait. that's our girl.
okay, well, gee, I thought we were gonna have a washout here. All right. Your 2 minutes are up. Now is the time for the Landmark Commission, Historic Landmark Commission for the City of the Dalles to meet. And the first item on the agenda is call to order. And that's what I'm doing. I have 2 people that are on Zoom, and I'm grateful for that. And we have 3 of us sitting here, so that gives us 5. That's a very good number for our group. So Paula, would you call the roll, please, at this point?
Forrest Ercole,
Here,
Bev Aggie,
Here,
Eric Gleason is absent. Bob McNary,
Here,
Scott Stevenson. You're muted.
are you muted, Scott?
Julie
Gotcha.
Reynolds,
Here, Thank
Oh,
you.
there,
Yeah,
that's much better. I
Here.
thought maybe you had been timid. And
Julie Reynolds. Here. Scott Randall is absent.
okay. We're at the point, we're gonna have the Pledge of Allegiance. And Bev, would you help me? I kind of get all twisted up at this point. Oh, it's over there, I see it.
Hiding from you, or the Oregon State hiding. I
Pledge
pledge
allegiance
allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
Indivisible,
with
with liberty and justice for all.
Now, Forrest, you and Scott have got to defend I'm surrounded by women. So you're gonna have to watch out for me if you can. At this point, I'd like to have a motion to approve the agenda as written. Has everybody had a chance to look over the agenda and any comments to make? And then I'd entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as it is.
Get your second
It
in
was
there.
so close. So close.
The motion has been made and seconded to approve the agenda. You got that, Paula?
I have, well, did you second?
I'll second it.
Yes, I got it.
Forrest made the motion and Bev just seconded. So all in favor of the agenda as printed? Say aye.
I,
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Now I'm gonna make a little deviation. Bob's gonna step out of the chair seat and turn this over to the vice chair for a 30-second interval or however long it is to get the minutes approved from the April 26th, 2023. I was absent. And so the grammar is good. I read it. The spelling is excellent. But what you people were really doing, I have no grasp of. So Forrest, would you kind of entertain this part of this program?
Yeah, not a problem at all, Bob. Thank you. All right, so was there any edits or changes to the minutes of April 26, 2023?
No,
Hearing and seeing none, I would like to have a motion for approval of the minutes.
I move that we approve the minutes from April 26th, 2023. Oh. I move that we approve the minutes from April 26th.
I second that.
All right, and then we shall now take that to a vote. So all those in favor of approval of the minutes dated April 26, 2023, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And it passes.
Chairman
Thank you,
Mary.
Forrest. I don't know whether it was appropriate that I voted or not, but I know that you'd have another line to your minutes if I didn't. So,
Chair McNary, I believe that when I called the roll, I left out Eric Gleason, and I just wanted to note that he's absent.
okay. Now we're back to public comment, and maybe on the video or on the Zoom, I can see the screen. There might be someone, or there's someone on the internet. So we will go from public comment down to our public hearing. Seems we have no one making public comment, and so I guess I'll get my little gavel. Can I hit it one time?
Yep.
We're gonna open a public hearing for HLC 213-23 Bethany, and I'm not sure how you pronounce the last name,
Stelzer.
Stelster. And apparently she lives at 350, oh no, the property's at 315 Federal Street. There is a request for a lot of things on this. I don't know if it's important that I list them all, but we are gonna have a request for, as far as I'm gonna call this building, you people got all your names in the world, but to me, it'll always be the Brady Market.
Chair McNary, I need to read the rules of the public hearing.
And what you saying now?
He wants us to read the rules.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
How about Julie's turn?
Sure, I can read them. if you want.
okay.
Julie said she wants to read them.
You want me to read them?
Sorry, Julie.
Right. Now is the time specified for the Historic Landmarks Commission to conduct a public hearing. The purpose of this public hearing is to consider the following matter. HLC 213-23 Bethany Stelzer, 315 Federal Street. The request is to approval to upgrade the facade, add awnings, 2 new entrances on East 3rd Street, and an additional entrance opening to the alley. The substantive criteria upon which the Historic Landmarks Commission will base its decision in this matter are contained in the city's comprehensive plan and land use and development ordinances. Am I doing this correctly? Okay. A public hearing is required by law and certain rules apply. First and foremost, you must be recognized by the chair in order to speak and present testimony. When recognized by the chair, please proceed to the microphone and state your name and mailing address for the record. The hearing is required by law to be tape recorded. Generally, the public hearing procedure is as follows. A, prior to the public hearing, a determination will be made of the qualifications of the commission members and allow for challenges from the audience. 1, President McNary will open the public hearing with a staff report. The purpose of the staff report at this point is to further identify the applicable criteria of the case being considered and to provide background information about the case. After the staff report, we will hear testimony from the proponents, those persons in favor of the application. Next, there will be testimony from the opponents, those not in favor of the application. Next, there will be testimony from anyone else who wishes to offer testimony or ask questions. Then, to honor the right of rebuttal, we will again hear from those in favor of the application. To expedite the hearing, the commission members may ask questions of persons as they testify. When this process has been concluded, we will close the public testimony portion of the hearing. During the hearing, some important standards apply. First of all, those who testify must hold their testimony to the decision criteria, as in all land use hearings. There are a complete set of rules, procedures, and criteria we must follow. Second, failure to raise an issue accompanied by statements or evidence sufficient to afford the commission members and the parties an opportunity to respond to that issue precludes an appeal to the Land Use Board of Appeals based on that issue. Third, the failure of an applicant to raise constitutional or other issues relating to proposed conditions of approval with details specific enough to allow the city to respond to the issue precludes an action for damages in the circuit court. Fourth, prior to the conclusion of the public hearing, any participant may request an opportunity to present additional evidence, arguments, or testimony regarding the application. If such a request is made, the law states the commission must grant the request by either continuing the hearing to a time and date at least 7 days from the date of the initial hearing, or the record must be kept open for a period of at least 7 days. These are the rules. Are there any questions? Is that it? I can read faster next time.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Yeah, you did much better than I would have ever done. So I've got to figure out where you left off here. Way up there? Okay. Now, is there any Alpatra contact? Anyone that has a bearing on this, an interest or conflict of interest or a bias? And hearing none, we'll go on down. Early on in the commissions, we should open it to the audience, whoever they may be, if they think that there's anyone that is not qualified to be a member of the commission. Hearing none, and we'll go on past that one. The public hearing is now open. And I'll put this paper away till further notice. Please give us a staff report on this. I am lost that we don't have a member that is here that wants to help get this thing built. Or are they going to show up? Or are they all going to be done in absenteeism?
The applicant had not indicated that they would be able to attend today.
It just seems so strange to me that they will not be here for their own hearing. Say no more.
All right, so hello, Historic Landmarks Commission. I'll be presenting the staff report today for the historic landmark application for Bethany Stelzer. The location of this development is at 315 Federal Street. Its classification is non-compatible and non-contributing to the downtown commercial historic district. The current use is commercial, or it's vacant. And here is the map showing where this building is currently on Federal and East 3rd Street. So this parcel was the original site of the Vogue Opera House. In 1909, this parcel had an opera house, skating rink, and another commercial building, all within the same location. But by 1929, much of the block was rebuilt. The skating rink and opera house were altered for an auto use and a small storage/furniture warehouse that was constructed on site as well. The building was completely remodeled, unfortunately, in the 1960s. And for that reason, it's considered non-contributing and non-compatible with the commercial historic district. So here's a picture of some of the existing conditions from Google Maps. One of the differences, however, now is that it is a vacant building and there is no mural on the side of the building anymore. This is an elevation drawing of the Dallas Chronicle, showing kind of a large gable, metal roof canopy, some large storefront windows that are aluminum. This is the other side of the building. It's rather large, showing a existing, metal awning. This picture shows the mural that it's no longer there anymore. And there are some aluminum windows and some metal doors. So this proposal, the applicant has received approval with conditions for a site plan review application from the Community Development Department. One of the conditions is that they had their facade design approved by the Historic Landmarks Commission. They would like to convert an existing vacant building into a multi-use development, including 6 businesses and food service, retail, and health and wellness. The building currently features metal awnings, plaster, metal storefront windows, 1 large gable, and glass storefront doors. The building is, like I said before, classified as non-contributing and non-compatible within the commercial historic district, and unfortunately does not have any historic characteristics on the street facade to maintain. The applicant is proposing the installation of a new awning, the addition of 2 entryways on East 3rd Street, new paint, and an addition of an entry in the alley. As you can see here, all of the entrances are shown. The alleyway entrance will be for a nightlife bar area. And then the new entrance on East 3rd Street will be for a new yoga studio. And the other new entrance will be for a food area for the grocery store. And this is some of their proposed elevations, building elevations. So they're keeping a lot of the facade very similar on the east building elevation. So you can see the original gable. They're proposing some signage, but that wasn't included in this application. It'll be approved on the staff level at a later date. This is the rear of the building. So you can see here, there's going to be a very small new entrance, and we'll get into the details on that later. This is a kind of like a blown up picture of the new entryway on the rear of the building and the entryway on the east facade side. On East 3rd Street, this is a close-up of both of the new entryways that they're proposing. So you can see one is in the middle of the building featuring a new awning and a new door with some windows. And then the other one, this new entryway for the food area is replacing some existing windows that are currently on the building on East 3rd Street. So the first couple of findings in the staff report center around how this development will not destroy historic characteristics or create a false sense of historical development. This is because it's non-contributing and non-compatible. So there's no, historic characteristics to maintain. They're not adding any additions to the buildings. Really, all they're doing here is some new entryways and an awning with some windows as well on the first floor. So with these facade improvements, the streetscape would be altered. So this development will establish multiple first floor commercial uses. These commercial uses will retain a pedestrian friendly commercial front. With existing windows, updated facade improvements distinguishing each business with their own entryway, and the addition of one awning, creating a pedestrian ceiling. Each facade will be distinguished with different paint colors. So it's creating really a look of multiple buildings or multiple businesses that kind of fill in this streetscape here. There'll be a shared garbage facility in the alleyway, so it won't be visible from the street. And all of the period lighting that is already existing in this area will be maintained with this development. Regarding landscaping, it was a condition of approval for their site plan review application from the Community Development Department to install landscaping due to their parking lot being over 6 spaces. So when you have a parking lot that has more than 6 spaces, you're required to put in a 5-foot landscaping buffer in between the right-of-way and the parking area. So what this does is, although landscaping is not recommended because historically there was none, this creates a buffer between the vehicles parked on site and the pedestrian. And that is within the purpose of the streetscape. And historically, there wasn't parking lots abutting the right of way, right? So this is what it's doing is mitigating some impacts that vehicles have just facing the pedestrian sidewalk or the sidewalk and right of way. And one could argue also that, it's outside of the right of way. So it's not necessarily landscaping in like a planting strip or installing street trees or something like that. So staff felt that they met the streetscape criterion. So taking a look at materials, I broke it down here in the slides for each proposed entryway. So as you can see here, these 2 highlighted entryways in the slides will utilize dark bronze, like aluminum storefront. This matches the existing facade that's already there. So what they're going to be doing is just updating it and then adding an additional entryway where there's some aluminum windows. Since the building is non-compatible and since the building is non-compatible with the surrounding commercial historic district and they're not replacing any historic material, staff found that matching this kind of aluminum windows meets the criterion is okay. Taking a look at the brand new entryway. So this is where there is no windows. This was the location of the previous mural that was on this building. So they're going to be putting in a brand new entryway here for a yoga studio. They're going to be using an aluminum and glass door with a wood frame and then wood casement windows to match that door. And so these facade elements, they're going to be using transom windows and then large display windows, which is generally encouraged within our downtown district. And for the last entryway, it's on the rear of the building. And here they'll be utilizing aluminum framing, black aluminum framing around the door and along the transom windows. These, typically in the alleyways of buildings, right, you get to see like beautiful, the historic brick, right, in your original materials. Unfortunately, that is not the case here. And it is just CMU cement block that they'd be replacing. So staff, found that they're not going to be impacting any historic material or characteristics here. Staff, because they're going to be installing all of this new windows, staff is adding as a condition of approval that that they should not utilize any smoked or reflective glasses that is prohibited in the commercial historic district. The applicant included a lot of their proposed paint colors in this application. They got both of these colors from a historic color palette, which is really and that's what staff asks, is that they pick from a historic color palette and that it matches the color scheme outlined in the commercial historic district. So they've included their medium building colors here. Their window sash are all either black or dark bronze. So that would be the darkest feature. They did not include any trim detail, but there's very limited trim here. So staff found that, the colors proposed here meet. And they did a really great job comparing the existing buildings within the downtown district. They compared this red to a lot of other brick buildings and the hammered silver to a lot of the gray buildings downtown, which I thought was a really nice touch and thoughtful on the applicant's side. So moving along to the commercial front. So as mentioned previously, there's been a lot of remodeling done to this building and not a ton of historic features. However, the applicant is showing, giving a nod to some of our historic standards with the transom windows and the large display windows that complement kind of that storefront, that pedestrian-friendly storefront look. Also, adding additional entryways to these buildings create a more pedestrian-friendly commercial front. People are slowing down, going into businesses, and so that's always encouraged. The applicant isn't. So the applicant is proposing installation of new entries that complement the existing entryways with window bulkheads, large clear plate display windows, and transom windows. Staff felt that, they met this criterion. Oh, and then this is a little more zooming in here of where the proposed entryway will go in on East 3rd Street. And this is a little bit of a closer look of the large clear display windows with the transom windows above. And you can see the aluminum frame windows that will be replacing. So there is an awning proposed with this application. So the existing building features metal awnings that will be retained with this development. The applicant is requesting an additional metal flat horizontal awning on East 3rd Street. This awning type is typical in the commercial historic district, and it is in our standards. It says flat horizontal metal canopy suspended by chains or rods, if original, should be used as they provide cover for pedestrians and shade within the store. Now, I couldn't find I gave it my darndest try, but I could not find any old, photos of the buildings that once stood here. So, me not having any photos to go off of, but looking at other historic buildings in the downtown, these types of flat horizontal metal canopies are rather common. And the proposed awning will not obscure the transom windows that they're proposing or detract from the architectural features of the building. So staff felt that, this met our criterion. So staff is recommending approval with conditions. So the proposed conditions here is that work shall be completed in substantial conformance to the pictures and proposal as submitted, reviewed, and modified. So they need to follow their plans. All proposed windows and doors shall not utilize smoked or reflective glass. The applicant shall submit plans to obtain an improved building permit to the City of the Dalles and then Wasco County Building Codes. The applicant is required to notify the Community Development Department of any alteration of approved plans, and if those plans are altered to a great extent, they may need to come back to the Historic Landmarks Committee. And then finally, no sandblasting is approved with this development. Any planned cleanings will be required to meet the standards set forth by the Secretary of Interior. And it's just some ongoing conditions that we included in this application was that the applicant shall obtain an approved sign permit for all proposed signage with this development. They kind of, I don't know if you saw in their building elevations, but they showed, oh, this is a proposed sign site here. And we need to know the exact dimensions and everything like that on a staff level. So once they have a little bit more detail about what they will be putting, what sign they will be installing at this location, I can provide a review with the historic standards on a staff level. And then the conditions of approval outlined in the site plan review notice of decision for this development shall be met. So yeah, that concludes the staff report today. Do you all have any questions? I gotta stop my share.
May I ask?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's already been some change down there. Part of the building's been painted white.
Mhm.
And it looked like you could see that in some of the photos.
Yes, so they've, I can approve paint color on a staff level. And so she did come to me to get those colors approved beforehand.
Will it stay white or will
Yes, that was the final color.
just a comment from a business owner right across the street on 3rd Street who said, I'm going to have to get blinds. It's just blinding my customers as they sit in the barber chair.
Oh, shoot. Yeah,
So he was not happy.
I mean, there was a previous application that was approved for the Pioneer Building, and on their renderings, they also had the white building paint and then the black awning as well. And so I kind of went with the previous approved applications from the Historic Landmarks Committee and went forward from there. It is a popular color combination right now, that's for sure.
Just reporting.
Yeah, thank you. Any other questions?
Kept answering them. I was gonna ask Kate all the things that you kind of.
I think it's an excellent report and I'm proud. I have been under the opinion and never went around with my little jackknife, but the southwest corner of that building, I thought there was still some cast iron pillars.
Well, there is the Morin Printing Building, and that is separate from this development. It's on a separate tax lot as well, so that won't be affected as a result of this development. Is that what you're thinking of?
Might be work.
Because that's the one that has a very nice historic front on it, and so that won't be touched with this development. And I can show you guys. I can pull it up on Google Maps if we want to take a look. Do we want to?
Wasn't that where the Vote Opera House was? More in printing upstairs.
Oh, okay, maybe that.
It's
Okay.
according to Carl Verkuter and
Oh, we
330.
got a new face up here now. Is this that lady that wants to be doing this job?
Caitlin.
Well, no, there's another.
Come on now, I'm getting old, but I'm not getting completely senile.
I didn't notice.
This individual may want to present on behalf of the applicant. I'm not sure, but that may be Sarah. Do you have any? I just finished presenting the staff report for this application, but oh, sorry. Are you guys? If you're finished asking questions, we can ask Sarah if she has any additional notes that she'd like to include. Thank you, Paul.
So this beautiful face that we're looking at now is not going to be what we would call an opponent or a proponent, one or the other. She's going to be in favor of it, I hope. And if she got audio? Nope.
Oh, you're on mute. But nobody else had any questions right on the staff report? We're good there? Okay.
All right. If our people up here on the wall, wonderful people.
Chair
Have they got any
McNary,
questions that they would like to ask at this point about this building? Like we have heard several times, it is not really an historic building. They're not making an effort to make
Chair.
people believe that it will be historic.
she had a little trouble connecting, but she does want to comment, I believe.
Ah, now she's
So,
there.
thank
Okay.
you. I just got it to work. I'm here on behalf of Bethany Stelzer. She had an emergency with her children, so she called me and had me run up here from my work to comment. I wanted to see if there's
Sarah, I need you to
Yes.
state your name and address for the record. I'm sorry.
okay, Sarah Stelzer. And this is in regards to the building, the Dallas Chronicle building on Main
No,
Street.
I need your
My
mailing
personal
address.
Okay, 320 West 7th Street in the Dalles.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you. Do you want me to repeat that on the?
No,
The
it's fine. You can go ahead.
Okay. Yes, so I am just here on behalf of Bethany Stelzer in regards to the historical application and the review, and I wanted to see if you'd be willing to present any comments you had for me to pass on to her.
Now we're open to a meeting that I can understand. Almost get my fingers around. Is there any commissioner member that would like to ask any question about this development? Hearing none. And seeing none of the people that might be opposed to it other than an opponent sitting in the lawn, the barber chair. We,
Should she hear that comment? Perhaps?
so unless someone else has got another thing, I'm ready to close the public hearing where the commission now will start to deliberate amongst themselves to approve this and
Excuse me.
reserve the right to.
I'm sorry, Chair McNary. You might want to pass along the comment about the white paint so that Sarah could pass it along to Bethany. Julie's comment.
Shall I state it? I just said that I had heard a comment from the barber shop across the street when the building was painted white, that it made quite a glare and that he might feel he had to get some kind of sunshade so his customers weren't blinded by the white. So.
And then,
Thank
and then I do have an extra, I did want to just let you know, Sarah, we will send you the notice of decision and any conditions of approval. So Bethany will be able to see that as well.
Thank you, and thank you for your understanding on this too.
Thank you. I don't even know where I was here, but we'll go from there wherever I was. If there's no one that has any questions of the opponent, then we're going to close the public hearing and reserve the right to quiz our staff if we have a problem. And hearing none, I'm going to close the public hearing at this point. And now we're going to deliberate amongst ourselves on this application. So, anyone got anything they want to say, or would they want to make a motion? And I got a girl sitting next to me that just loves to make seconds.
Oh. Was there a motion to second?
Not yet, but you
Okay.
can make the motion if you want it.
I wasn't paying attention apparently. What do you want me to do?
All right, this is what you're gonna approve. I'll get the
Oh, approve.
there you go. I think it is. I took my glasses off. Well, there's a number there. Let's go back to the agenda. You got the agenda? No, I do. Approve. There we go.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to approve the HLC 213 through 23 Bethany Stelzer's 315 Federal Street proposal
with
with
the conditions of approval. And I'll have to go back and find those in for you. Oh, you're kind of a follow along. Here we go. With the, what is there? 4, 5 conditions of approval?
What are we gonna do?
I mean, if you guys are ready to make a motion, it's, you can just say the, based on the findings of the fact detailed in the staff report.
We're ready. No one had a,
I mean, unless you guys,
everyone approved of it. or we're
No,
going
but I
to
mean,
discuss
this
it?
is staff to give us,
No, I.
we want to make sure that that's in our motion that we,
Okay, and continuing from my motion, recommended conditions of approval, work shall be completed in a substantial confirmation to the pictures and proposals as submitted, reviewed and modified. 2, all proposed windows and doors shall not utilize smoked or reflective glass. 3, the applicant shall submit plans to obtain an approval building permit to the city of the Dalles and then Wasco County building codes. Is that it?
2 more. You only really had.
4, the applicant is required to notify the Community Development Department of any alterations of approved plans. 5, no sandblasting is approved with this development. Any planned cleaning will be required to meet the standards set forth by the Secretary of the Interior.
Thank you. Now I'm waiting for a second to that motion.
I'll second her motion.
Good, thank you. We have a motion that has been approved, made a motion made and seconded. Is there any further comment amongst the commission members? Or can I ask for the vote? Hearing no different comments, I'm going to ask us to vote. Are you in favor of this motion? Raise your right hand and say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? This motion has been, this application has been approved. And it's great to see that building reutilized. Have great faith that it's going to come up and people will have fond memories. As I started to say, I was getting a little wound up there, but when my first baptism to the city of the Dells, that was a grocery store, and that's where I shopped. And I have a lot of other stories that I can tell you along that line, but that's not necessary. Anyhow, thank you. And we'll be looking forward to action. That's
Thank
what we
you.
love to see.
We're
Action.
looking forward to it.
Okay. The next, I gotta get back to the front of my book here. Is the next thing our resolution? Yeah. Okay. We'll need a resolution to approve 199-23, and it's the approval of the application of 121323 that we just got through voting in. Is there any further comment on this resolution? If there is not, I will entertain a motion from the commission to pass on and get going. What's up? What are you
I'll
gonna do?
make a motion to approve HLC resolution 199-23.
I'll second that motion.
Hey, we're getting in the swing of this now. Anyone got any comments, or is it time to call for the vote? I'll say we're gonna call for the vote at this point. All in favor of resolution 199-23, say aye and raise your right hand, please.
Aye.
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 Anyone opposed? I don't know who it'd be. Anyhow, this motion has been passed. Hey, we're doing fine. Cocktail hour is gonna be in great shape here. Thank you, ma'am. I guess she disappeared.
There she
Thank
is.
you. And we'll, hopefully all the paperwork has been done properly. I'm a little foggy today, but I'll get better. Okay. Now we're down to the staff comments for what's going on and maybe a little tear from losing our grant.
Yeah, so I do have some sad news. We did not get the grant for the Pioneer Cemetery for landscaping. Really, I watched the deliberations for the with SHPO, and basically their comment was, that they wanted to like landscaping and maintenance isn't really something that they were prioritizing with this grant schedule. And that makes sense. It's really typical for granting organizations because they want to fund projects, right? And some of these other applications that they were hearing was resetting graves, like headstones. And so I think, it's sad, but I do get what they're coming from. And so we are still doing landscaping at the Pioneer Cemetery, just, routine. It's been weed whacked, so it will be clear for Memorial Day coming up. Excuse me. And we are just going to continue to see what we can do, what creative solutions we can come up with. Even though we didn't get the grant this time, does not mean we do not have amazing volunteers and people who are passionate. So anyways, that concludes staff comments. I'm trying to think, we are working on the walking tour. Scott has been an amazing help. Well, Scott is an amazing force with the walking tour as usual. And, we're just wrapping up the recordings. I see Scott kind of went off mute here. And so, anyways, I'll leave it at that for staff comments today.
Yeah, I was just going to add that we're really excited that we got for the murals, the Native American based murals, that we were able to get recordings from Native Americans, and they're really pretty fascinating. They talk about the history and their experiences of fishing. They talk about the history of Celilo, Chief Tommy Thompson. So that's going to be a nice addition to it, which I think is really great.
Yeah, they're pretty incredible. So I'm really excited as well to listen in, and just the audio quality too. It's awesome. So if you guys have a chance to, we haven't uploaded all the recordings yet, but once they are uploaded, I just, really encourage you all to have a listen because it's pretty fun, pretty cool.
Is there a map?
Yes, there'll be a map. So it'll just be on that app, right? So you'll have a map that you can interact with.
Have to download an app.
Oh, yes. You have to download the app. We got to get our numbers up, Julie. We need to download the app.
But the
So
good news is maps don't tell you stories, and they don't give you
Yeah.
the whole history, and they don't give you all the pictures and stuff. So
What does the water level have to do now with our walking tour?
the water level?
I understood that it's flooded under the underpass. Yeah, I misinformed again, but someone told me it was Saturday or Sunday it was, that they went down and the water was up so high that they couldn't walk through the underpass.
Oh, I don't know. I know that there is some seasonal flooding that does occur in that location, but that and the walking tour doesn't really have any, isn't really related.
Well, if they can't get from the boat to the downtown,
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. So, seasonal flood events do happen within the downtown, especially in that underpass area. But yeah, that's like an infrastructure investment that's a little past my
I
scope.
haven't driven down there to look, but that was what they told me. They said they couldn't get down to the dock.
Oh, with the cruise ship in too?
Pardon?
When the cruise ship was in too?
Well, I don't think there was a cruise ship.
Oh,
there,
okay, good.
but had out of town company here, and I had a daughter that was gonna give them a tour, and they all come back and looked at me and said, we couldn't get through, the water was too high under the underpass.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess, some of the
But
crews,
I don't think it's a permanent problem.
right.
I haven't looked out to see where the river is today, but if they did, I was wondering if there any talk had been getting one of the bus systems to bus people around.
Yeah, so we do have the tour buses for the cruise. What do you call people who ride on cruise? Participants? Yeah, to hop on and off. Yeah.
Awesome.
Sufficient if that
Yeah.
they do it. So I don't know. It's just a question.
Yeah.
Any further comment?
Nothing from me.
Well, I mentioned about the sidewalk by St. Peter's Landmark.
Yeah.
It's finished. It looked great. So it was a couple of years in the going. Mr. Aggie's been trying to get that for quite a while, and it's a big success.
So when you took out the old sidewalk, did you find anything of interest?
Oh, you want me to confess to some kind of archaeological?
Yes. On the record.
We're gonna retire somewhere. in the mansion, but No, nothing. We found, no, there was just the usual.
Nuts.
Have anything else?
If the staff has any further stories, we're gonna start calling on commissioners if we don't have any further story from staff.
Mhm.
Okay. Forrest, how's it been for a month without me? Boy, I'll bet it was great.
Oh, it was the worst month I've ever had, Bob. But earlier this month, the Civic Auditorium celebrated their 100th anniversary, and they had an auction, and I believe they raised over $50,000 for improvements to the theater and to the building itself. So I would say that was a very big success for them. That's all I have. Just the reporting on their 100th.
Scott, you're looking deep pondering. You have had a lot of things going on since you and I last talked. Good to see you to start with, and good to hear and read where you are still very actively involved. Now, tell me what's your next step, partner?
Oh, well, I was a boat captain before, so I'm going to take about 3 months and drive a boat up in Alaska.
Do you want to talk about your project that you worked on?
Sure. Yeah, let me see if I can get the photos up here for it. Just a second.
The only reason why I prompt them is because it's pretty cool. And so I think you guys would be interested in it.
Would you like to, can I share screen? Is that
Yeah.
Okay.
Should work.
Okay, got it. So this is a project I wrote a grant for, and then this is it's called a history viewer. So I worked with the Columbia Gorge Community College with their fabrication department. What you're looking at right here is the actual stand, and then in the center there, that head pivots on 2 axes. So it moves up, turns, and what you see on the inside is a transparency, and this is the corner looking across to Discounts Plus, across from the Coronada. So what goes inside is, this was the original Chapman building that was there. So it's a transparency of that there. So the concept is that someone can come, move the viewer, align it, and then you get to see what was there before.
Oh my gosh,
That's awesome.
that's amazing.
Thank
Wow,
you. Thank
Magic.
you.
wow.
Thank you. So this was a kind of a test with that transparency. So I'm working with the photographer, the gentleman that you saw there, to do a positive negative, if that makes sense, that it would be a little bit denser, you could see a little bit better, but you could still have that look through ability. So yeah, and then on the stand, there's a plaque area right there. So you can put information on there. This was the building, this was what it was before, and any other relevant historical materials. So yeah, it was a great project to work with the college. Robert Clark up there is amazing, as well as Chris Dodson. So it was fabricated by the students, and then worked with the design and so on. So yeah, I think it's something that could be put around. Those can be changed out. So talking with Caitlin, there's sounds like there's quite a bit of stock of photos that we can draw in and use this to tell the history of the downtown or the area.
I love that.
It's neat.
I
Thank
think
you.
it's fantastic. I'm trying to figure out, is it a one of a kind or are we?
Well, that's a great question, Chairman McNary. Yeah, it's something that they would fabricate, that we could do. So I'm actually going to meet with Robert this week to kind of see what that would look like if we could do more, and maybe some modifications. You see that there's all these screws that are almost like rivets, and inside it's pretty incredible. They have this machining tool up there, and they basically made a custom aluminum spacer inside, and then the transparency sits between there, and then gaskets help keep the area dry. So there might be some modifications. There seems like there's a little too many screws, but in general, this is how it would look.
So would that just show the one picture, or if you turn it, you can have other pictures in the same stand, or is it?
That's a great question, Bev. Yeah, it's just the one, but they can, if you position it somewhere else, those transparencies or those negatives positives can be switched out.
It's a cool thing for our town, because with floods and fires, we've lost a lot of buildings over the centuries. So, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. The thing that really inspired it was having been a history major, and then I lived in New Orleans, and there's a lot of history in New Orleans as well. And it's just so stagnant, and you don't really get to engage. You don't really get that kind of interaction and some say activation. So it's a nice way to really draw somebody in and then have that kind of aha experience. And when I was playing around with these, I would take transparencies, and people would always ask questions. People are always engaged. So it felt like it was a worthy project.
I'm envisioning Umatilla House and all these amazing, historically significant places
Right.
that are gone.
Yeah. And that would be neat right down where Chairman McNary was talking about, to have one of these down there, especially at that dock area. You can still see the pilings if it's low water. So seems like it'd be a good asset.
Wow.
Thank you, Scott. Thanks for sharing and letting me
Yeah.
put you on the spot.
Well, thanks for the opportunity. I appreciate it.
I've got an idea for future, which is you could string together a bunch of historic photos, and then you could do a panorama and turn that thing as you panned across, and
Oh,
you'd
right.
see the old landscape against the new. That's a future
I
project.
like.
Right.
My memory's slipping and I don't go downtown and often. Did we get any development at all on that parking lot across from the Granada? At one time or another, that came before us. And I don't know what, is it done? We were gonna put up some awnings and
It's like the bench kind of area, yeah.
So with that project, the Art and Design Committee, which is part of the Dallas Art Center, they're looking to move forward. There have been a couple meetings, and I believe they're meeting with City Manager Cleaves to see about moving forward with that. and getting able to get a budget, and they're taking a look to see if they want to continue.
Okay, Julie, well, no, I got one more commissioner here. Bev, how about what besides happening besides the sidewalk out there you and your husband been working on? I'm sure you're the spark plug.
Yeah, I have big plans, but I can't push him beyond what he can bear. So I'm just pacing myself on we're trying to fix up the side of our Ben Snipes' house. We're gonna work on that.
Yeah.
And just gardening and stuff.
And last but not least, how is our girl at the fort?
Fort Dalles is really happy to have the cruise ships coming back again. It's made a real difference for us. We're also looking at some changes to how we can preserve the vehicles. The vehicle building's been kind of not an off and on project, but there have been a lot of different proposals. And right now it looks like what we're going to be doing is no huge new construction, but rather making some alterations to the upper building that has the wagons in it, so that the Umatilla House wagon can be better preserved. And maybe, a better roof and all that kind of stuff. And so we can get people to be able to walk inside and look around. That's all.
Thank you. I was kind of taken back at the size of the Soda Works building when it all came down. The footprint was much larger than I'd anticipated. I don't know why, but I just had driven by it so many times to know what it would want to count, but I never realized how big it was until it wasn't there. There was a big floor.
You never went into it?
No, I never was in
I
there.
don't know. I went through as a grade school tour through the Soda Works. And I remember Brady's Market too. I'm almost as old as you are.
I have a crate for the sodas and some of the
Oh,
soda
have you?
bottles.
What is a Soda Works?
They bottled Pepsi Cola in there. It was a bottling organization. Everything was rattling down the little channels, and that was pretty
Where
impressive.
did
That's
they
fun.
get the carbonated water?
I have no idea. I was only a third grader.
Well, there's a carbonated spring up on the Klickitat,
Oh, really? Huh. I didn't know that.
but I only know it's there, but where they utilize that.
No, that's too fancy for Pepsi. They must have had just syrup and.
Well, how did they
CO2
transport
I
it?
don't know.
How did they transport it down? That's what I was
I don't know.
referring to,
It's a
thinking
cool
about.
bottling.
You
But-
don't look at me, Bob. I'm Mayor Chair McNary.
Anyhow, I think it somehow or other, we should work hard at getting an exponential plaque
For the Soda Works?
for the Soda Works or any building that is no longer in existence.
Was it historic?
Pardon?
Was it historic?
Well, sure it was I don't know if it was listed on because it's outside the district, but it has been on the list of historic buildings for years, hasn't it?
I do not believe it was listed as a standalone property. No, I mean it was heavily altered over time as well. There was not really any historic characteristics. I don't know if you guys are familiar with what it looked like before. I'm sure you are. Just asbestos shingling on the outside, and so it wasn't. I mean, hardly any windows really even. So yeah, it wasn't independently listed, and it's not in the commercial historic district.
Was abundant foods for a while too, food distribution
yeah.
with cheese and that kind of
Alex
stuff.
Marshall was the man that worked it at that point. You
I
remember
don't
that name?
remember that,
But it's the only way we're ever going to be able to keep our next generation up to speed is if we do something to this nature. So when they look at that site, it isn't just an empty concrete floor.
Well, this thing that Scott's doing is a big step towards doing
Yeah,
that.
Right.
that's
Get a
great.
picture of the past right there.
Right.
It's cool.
I have nothing to add historic this month. We've heard nothing from the Oregon State Highway Department about our property that is adjacent to Old Highway 30. Is it been any activity there?
Yeah, that's a great question. So ODOT, in so many words, the old Rock House is under the city's jurisdiction. And so right now the Community Development Department is looking into hiring a archaeologist to do a inventory report on that building so it can to see if it could be demolished. So basically the City Public Works Department is interested in demolishing that building because it is right over one of their main lines, and it's been identified to be an attractive nuisance, unfortunately, and they're worried about liability if someone were to enter the building and hurt themselves because it is structurally unstable, or that's the perception. Hasn't been evaluated yet, so we're looking into going through the steps to get an archaeologist and start through those SHPO permits. And Eric Gleason, Commissioner Gleason, has been an amazing help with that.
These are the sites that somehow we need to explain to the next generation what happened there. And I'm proud of the one they put up at Pulpit Rock. And that was a big addition up there as far as I'm concerned. That it brings out the emphasis of why that rock's sitting in the middle of the road. Or the middle of the street, call it whatever you want. So it's a beautiful 5 o'clock hour. Has anyone got any further things to bring before the Landmark Commission? I would entertain a motion that we adjourn until, do you think we'll have a meeting in June?
I haven't received any applications yet. So to be determined. We'll see. People come in and they say they're going to submit, but I haven't seen any applications yet, which is just the most important thing I need in order to secure a meeting. So nothing yet.
Okay, we will put it down on our agendas that we do meet on the 4th Wednesday in June. I think that'd be the safest way to do it. And I hadn't noticed, but we've updated our chamber. We don't even have a calendar over there anymore.
We don't have a calendar now, but
Couldn't possibly guess how far the 4th Wednesday would be in June,
I
so
think everyone does it on their phone nowadays, except for us.
that's all, folks.
You and me.
All right, somebody make me a motion so I can go home.
Chair McNary, the June meeting would be held on the 28th.
June 28th.
Oh,
is the
okay.
date.
They're good. Put that in the record, Paula, please. I gotta make my own motion.
Oh, I
You're
can't make one.
great at seconds, but you don't like them
Those
motions.
motions scare me. I'd like to move that we adjourn the meeting.
Ah, beautiful.
I'll
We
second
are
that
adjourned.
motion.
Thank you.
There we go.
I'm just an accessory. I can't do anything. I can move, but like this.
But you read those rules like a champ.
Did you like that?
You did, yes,
Thank
yes.
you.
I'm
Thank you.
happy to do that. I'm happy to do that. in
That would
future.
be awesome because I hate doing it. And Bob's pretty good at it, but
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no.
thanks, Forrest and Scott. Have a good day.
oh,
Thanks,
Yeah,
Caitlin.
I
You
can
too.
Bye,
turn
guys.
faster than
Bye,
that,
everyone.
too.
Oh, you didn't do the gaffle.
Oh, did you do the gavel?
What you
Sorry,
want? We gotta bang it?
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Sorry, I stood up to leave before we were even adjourned.
we made it.